In December 2025, Jungkook of BTS stands at the peak of global recognition. His name dominates music charts, fashion headlines, television programming, and brand campaigns across continents. Yet, alongside the celebration of his achievements, international media outlets have increasingly turned their attention to another reality of his stardom: the relentless public pressure that comes with being one of the most visible pop figures of the modern era. From entertainment journalists in the United States to cultural commentators in Europe and Asia, discussions have emerged around how Jungkook's every move, on stage and off, has become subject to intense scrutiny. While his professional milestones continue to multiply, the conversation surrounding the human cost of global fame has grown louder. This article explores how Jungkook has become a focal point in broader discussions about celebrity pressure, digital culture, and the evolving responsibilities of media and fandom in the age of constant visibility. Jungkook's career trajectory is unlike that of most pop artists. As the youngest member of BTS, he debuted as a teenager and matured under the global spotlight. By 2025, his influence spans music, fashion, and popular culture, with partnerships involving major international brands and appearances in globally distributed media projects. International publications often describe Jungkook not merely as a singer, but as a cultural symbol. His image represents youth, ambition, and artistic versatility, making him one of the most marketable figures in the global entertainment industry. However, with this level of exposure comes an unprecedented degree of attention. Every public appearance, live stream comment, or social media interaction becomes instantly dissected, translated, and debated across platforms worldwide. One of the key themes raised by international media is how the digital age has fundamentally reshaped the boundaries between public and private life. Unlike celebrities of previous generations, Jungkook exists in a world where content circulates instantly and permanently. Live broadcasts intended for fans often become sources of speculation. Casual remarks are analyzed as potential signals, while silence is sometimes interpreted as intention. Media analysts note that this environment creates a feedback loop in which even neutral behavior can trigger widespread discussion. Several global commentators have pointed out that Jungkook's situation reflects a larger structural issue. Modern fame no longer allows moments of anonymity, even during rest periods or personal time. Another major focus of international reporting has been the role of media outlets themselves. While Jungkook's popularity guarantees clicks and readership, critics argue that coverage sometimes blurs the line between reporting and intrusion. Some journalists have emphasized the importance of narrative framing, how headlines and story angles can either humanize artists or contribute to unnecessary pressure. In Jungkook's case, certain outlets have begun shifting toward more reflective coverage, highlighting the broader implications of celebrity culture rather than focusing solely on speculation. This shift signals a growing awareness within parts of the media industry that global stars are not merely content generators, but individuals navigating extraordinary circumstances. No discussion of Jungkook's public pressure would be complete without examining fandom culture. BTS's global fanbase, known as ARMY, is widely recognized for its organization, loyalty, and influence. At the same time, international observers note that intense devotion can sometimes translate into heightened expectations. Media analysts describe a paradox. Fans seek closeness and authenticity from their idols, yet that desire can unintentionally contribute to pressure when boundaries become blurred. In recent months, many fans have actively advocated for respecting Jungkook's privacy, launching online campaigns that emphasize emotional support rather than speculation. These movements have been noted by international outlets as signs of a maturing fandom culture. Rather than isolating Jungkook's experiences, global media increasingly frame him as a case study representing a new generation of artists. His situation highlights how fame in the 2020s differs fundamentally from previous decades. Key characteristics of this new era include constant real-time visibility, global audiences with diverse cultural expectations, monetization of personal image across industry, social media platforms that reward speculation, and immediacy. Jungkook's ability to maintain professional consistency amid these pressures is often cited as evidence of resilience, but commentators caution against romanticizing endurance. As an expectation, Entertainment industry experts have weighed in on how companies, agencies, and platforms must adapt to protect artists' well-being. While Jungkook's agency maintains a largely professional silence regarding personal matters, analysts suggest that clearer industry standards around privacy could benefit artists at all levels. Cultural critics also point out that Jungkook's global status amplifies these issues beyond K-pop, influencing how Western and Asian industries alike discuss celebrity ethics. One recurring question in international discourse is how public pressure affects artistic freedom. When artists are constantly observed, the risk of self-censorship increases. Jungkook's careful communication style in recent years has been interpreted by some commentators as a natural response to constant scrutiny, rather than seeing this as withdrawal. Several analysts argue it reflects adaptation, an artist learning to navigate fame while preserving personal stability. Despite discussions of branding, metrics, and influence, many articles ultimately return to a central point: Jungkook is human. International media have increasingly emphasized this perspective, urging audiences to consider the emotional realities behind polished performances and public images. This shift aligns with broader cultural movements advocating for mental well-being, healthier fan-artist relationships, and ethical media consumption. As 2025 draws to a close, Jungkook remains one of the most influential figures in global pop culture. Yet the conversations surrounding him suggest something larger than one artist's experience. International media framing indicates a possible turning point, where fame is no longer discussed solely in terms of success, but also responsibility. Responsibility from media, platforms, agencies, and audiences alike. Jungkook's journey, as portrayed through these discussions, may help redefine how the world understands and treats global superstars in the years to come. In recent years, international media have observed a noticeable shift in how Jungkook communicates with the public. Unlike earlier stages of his career, where spontaneity and openness defined his public image, his recent appearances reflect a more measured, intentional presence. Experts in celebrity media studies suggest that this is not withdrawal, but strategy. Silence, in the modern fame economy, has become a form of self-preservation. For artists like Jungkook, every sentence can be reframed, every expression screenshot, every pause interpreted. As a result, saying less often becomes safer than explaining more. Several Western publications have framed this behavior as controlled vulnerability, a balance between staying connected with fans while limiting opportunities for misinterpretation. One reason Jungkook experiences such extraordinary pressure is the sheer economic value attached to his image. Analysts note that Jungkook is not just an artist. He is a high-value asset across multiple industries: music streaming platforms, fashion houses, global broadcasters, and digital advertisers all benefit from his visibility. This creates a system in which attention is constantly demanded, yet rarely moderated. International media critics argue that this economic model incentivizes overexposure. When attention equals profit, boundaries are often treated as obstacles rather than necessities. Jungkook's situation illustrates how global capitalism intersects with celebrity culture, turning personal existence into continuous performance. Unlike traditional media cycles, social platforms operate 24 hours a day. Jungkook's presence or absence can trend globally within minutes. Cultural analysts point out that algorithms amplify emotional reactions, not nuance. Concern, admiration, speculation, and criticism are all pushed equally if engagement is high. This creates an environment where Jungkook's name is constantly circulating, even when he is inactive. Several international commentators have described this phenomenon as ambient pressure, a background intensity that never fully disappears, regardless of whether the artist is actively promoting. Another layer of pressure comes from Jungkook's truly global audience. Expectations differ dramatically across cultures, yet all converge on the same individual. What is considered acceptable privacy in one region may be seen as secrecy in another. What one audience views as professionalism, another interprets as emotional distance. Media scholars argue that Jungkook must navigate multiple cultural frameworks simultaneously, often without the benefit of clarification or context. This is a challenge unique to global superstars, one that earlier generations of artists rarely faced at this scale.